keep using that graphic. Biden's border crisis. Small communities in Texas are seeing the crisis firsthand. Migrants in some places just being apprehended round the clock. Casey Stegall is in the border town of Eagle Pass. You spoke to the mayor. Describe the situation. Tell us what's happening there.
Well, Stuart, first of all, just to give you some context, we got on the ground a couple of hours ago this morning to start our lives, and the drone had not been in the air but 15 minutes, and it had already caught the first apprehension of our shift. So it really just goes to show how busy it is, and it is around the clock. It's happening in the middle of the night, in the early parts of the day, and also just in the middle of the afternoon. To further break out numbers for you, the ORR, that's the Office of Refugee Resettlement, it is under the HHS, Secretary of Health and Human Services. And the ORR says that it currently has more than 13,000 unaccompanied minors in its care, more than 13,000. That does not include the more than 5,700 that have not yet been transferred to HHS because they are still being held by U.S. Border Patrol at its facilities. So there's sort of a two-step process there for kids. DHS tells us that adults and family units are expelled from the country, sent back to Mexico, while the increased illegal activity in communities like this one have some feeling like prisoners in their own home. Listen.
They're getting people going through their backyards, jumping into their fences, hiding in their patios, trying to keep away from Border Patrol. So that's a big, scary situation that we're seeing, and our residents are seeing.
And another day, another delegation. Today, more lawmakers will visit and tour the Donna, Texas mega processing site near McAllen. It is also where previous visitors have described and documented crowded and unsanitary conditions in many instances. But Stuart, frankly, from being down here now for a month, we rotate in and out, it seems. You know, we're down here a week, rotate out a week. And for the better part of the time that we have been here now, I can tell you that still no reporters really being allowed inside these overflow facilities, issues with transparency and trying to get some numbers. So this is really posing a challenge, just covering it down here where it's happening.
No access. That's a problem. Casey Stegall, thanks very much indeed.
It's hard.
Yeah, it is. The number of unaccompanied minors at the border could reportedly surge to 26,000 in September. That's per month, by the way. Laura Logan is with us. She's been to the border. Has the Biden administration done anything to stop this surge?
Well, it's interesting, Stuart, that you raised that question because everyone's asking, are they doing anything to stop the surge? But why would you stop something that you created and you didn't just create, you planned for? That facility that you just showed down in Donna, Texas, that your reporter was at down there, well, that was being rebuilt in December. It was being rebuilt, and they were planning on it, on using that facility once the Biden administration got into power. And I was down at the border at the time. I saw it being built. I was told by the agents that they were preparing for the surge that was coming. They were told to get ready to move from security operations to migrant care operations. And then this all went into place in real time. I was talking to agents when the guidance was coming down from above, and they were being told what their priorities were. So to act as if this is somehow, beyond the control of the administration, or that they didn't have an express purpose in making this happen, I think is not to take into account all of the facts. Why did the Biden administration plan for this surge? How does it benefit them? And why are they willing to allow essentially an open border? If you were to believe the administration and all of the predictions of doom and gloom about the pandemic and about COVID, then why would you just open up a border where you're looking at the people that are apprehended? But this doesn't account for thousands and thousands and thousands of people who are just pouring over that border. You ask the ranchers in South Texas, about 70 to 80 miles north of the border. They see it every day. The people that are coming through there on their private land, some of them who are dying on that trip, none of those people have been apprehended, none of them have been tested, and none of them are being counted in the numbers. The other question, Stuart, how much is this costing?
Yeah, I don't have an answer for you on that one, but it's a lot of money, let's put it like that. But here's my point. It seems like the population of Central America, tens of millions of people, they want to move en masse to North America. And we now hear that there is a new caravan forming a caravan of Honduran migrants. They want to make their way through Guatemala into Mexico and then to the border. The caravans are coming. Guatemala may try to stop them, but these folks are on the way. And I think there are millions. I mean, am I exaggerating if I say millions are coming?
Well, it's impossible to put an absolute figure on that, right? And I'm always conscious of what I don't know as much as what I do know. And this is what I do know, Stuart, is that when you allow, as a basis for migration, economic opportunity, you'll often hear people saying, these are good people coming, this is their chance for the American dream, this is their chance for a better life, this is their chance for greater opportunity. Well, when you signal to the world that that's the basic standard on which you can enter the United States, you can bypass the legal immigration system, and all you have to do is get across that border and you'll be set. In fact, the U.S. government, U.S. citizens, U.S. taxpayers, they will pay to get you where you're going. I, in fact, was helping a bunch of mothers and children who were flying when I was just flying recently, and none of them spoke English, and they didn't. They knew where they were going, but they couldn't understand anything else. And there's more and more reports of these. You can see it yourself if you're flying. People are being paid for. Their flights are being paid for by the U.S. taxpayer. And so the real problem here is not whether there are millions yet, is that there are, as we know, there are millions and millions and millions of people who would jump at the chance for a better life. And when you make migration now a human right, when governments and administrations and politicians declare this a human right, which is a greater right than the right of a country to protect its borders, for example, then you send a signal to people that this is your moment and this is your chance. And what some of the people who are coming have said is that some of them were living in Brazil and other countries, and they were perfectly happy there. But now they realize, don't forget, Stuart, the big thing everyone's leaving out of this conversation is amnesty. People know that if they can be in this country and they can claim that they were here before January 20th, when the Biden administration took office, then they can show that they're eligible for that path to citizenship. And how are you going to prove that they weren't here?
Right. You know, on the show, on the screen, just a moment ago, Laura, whilst you were talking, we showed a picture of an army of people marching towards the United States. I got to tell you, Laura, it reminded me of that army of migrants that marched across Europe in 2015. Germany let them in and changed Europe forever. And I think we're on the verge of something very similar. I'm sorry to say we're out of time, but we always thank you for your contribution, Laura. And we'll be watching Lara Logan Has No Agenda. Fox Nation. Great stuff. Lara, many thanks. All right, get back to your money, get back to markets. We got Tesla.